Hello and welcome to today's webinar, Supporting Public, Private, Hybrid, and Multi-Cloud Efforts. This special webinar event is brought to you in partnership with Nutanix. Thank you to Nutanix for supporting this event, and thank you, of course, to everyone out there in the audience for joining this special webinar. This is the first in a three-part series. I'll talk to you about the upcoming future events in this series in just a moment. Before we jump into it, just a little bit about this event that you should be aware of. First off, of course, we want to help you get your questions answered related to cloud computing. Cloud is a confusing topic these days. It's also an exciting topic. It's something that a lot of us are really looking forward to leveraging for ourselves, personally, to make our lives more efficient as IT professionals, and especially for our companies, to help our companies leverage the scalability, the availability, the affordability of cloud, help us to do things that we never thought possible before in our on-premises data centers. You can do those types of things in a few clicks in the public cloud. But leveraging hybrid cloud, in other words, joining your on-premises data center with the public cloud, is really where the magic happens. And we'll be especially honing in here, talking about hybrid and multi-cloud on today's event. So we encourage you to ask questions about this topic. Use the questions box there on the left-hand side of your audience console. I'll draw your attention to it that way. And check it out. We'll be doing some Q&A at the end of the event, so keep those questions coming. We also have a link there to the Nutanix test drive. Sahil, our presenter, will be talking about the test drive, but the Nutanix test drive is a completely free opportunity for any one of you out there to just simply register, quick, simple form, and gain access to a virtual cloud environment completely built with Nutanix. You can play with it. You can do just about anything with it. And you can, but the most important thing you can do with it, of course, is to learn about the power of hybrid cloud and what Nutanix offers you. So I encourage you to check out that handouts link there in the handouts tab that says Nutanix test drive. So go ahead and click on that now. You can check it out after the webinar. And then finally, we have a Visa $300 gift card that I'll be announcing the winner of at the end of this webinar. If you're watching this on demand, I'm sorry, the drawing has already occurred. Price, terms, and conditions can be found in the handouts tab. Now, I mentioned that this is the first of 3 webinars in a series. So today's webinar, obviously happening today, talking about public, private, hybrid, multi-cloud adoption, and even more importantly, how to migrate. The second webinar in this series is on the Nutanix storage cloud. That'll be happening on October 20th. By registering for today's webinar, you should automatically receive an invitation to the upcoming second and third webinar in the series. So be on the lookout for an invitation to this event, the Nutanix Storage Cloud, on October 20th. You don't want to miss that one. And the final event in this 3-part series is identifying, evaluating, and justifying IT efficiency return. And I've seen a preview of this webinar. This is actually really honing in on evaluating the pros and cons, the return on investment, the total cost of ownership related to public cloud versus hybrid cloud versus on-premises. And the presenters on this event, Steve Kaplan and Greg White, are just really experts on that topic, doing that at financial analysis. So make sure that you stay tuned for that event as well. It's happening on October 27th at 3:00 p.m. Eastern. So, carve out a little time there on your calendar for that. And of course, watch for an email invite. And with that, I'm excited to introduce you to today's expert presenter. That is Mr. Sahil Bansal. He is a product marketing manager at Nutanix. Sahil, it's really great having you on the event today. We are excited for your presentation. I will now hand it off to you. Take it away, Sahil.
Nutanix today. I hope everyone's keeping safe and doing well. So my name is Sahil Bansal. I work as a product marketing manager at Nutanix, enabling public, private, hybrid, and multi-cloud adoption and migration. Bunch of different terms over there. So we will try and level set on what all of those mean for us. But in the meantime, who is Nutanix? For those of you that might not be familiar with Nutanix, we've been around for about 10 years. We've primarily been known as a data center company that manufactures hyperconverged infrastructure. And what we mean by hyperconverged infrastructure is taking your compute, storage, networking, and bundling all of those into one joint solution instead of you having to manage a big, bulky legacy three-tier architecture. And delivering all of that out of the box, we do provide our own servers as well as we partner with a bunch of our colleagues in the industry to provide underlying hardware, where our HCI works as a software-driven infrastructure. Initially, like we also work with a bunch of different hypervisors, but now we've packaged our virtualization layer into the same solution so that customers can truly like run their IT environments out of the box with one single server that we provide. So what does our typical customer journey look like? Most of our customers tend to be enterprises, as David mentioned. We all do still have data centers that we need while we're trying to modernize on the journey and reach towards the cloud and the multi-cloud state. So most of our enterprise customers have been the ones that have been upgrading from their legacy three-tier architectures to more a hyper-converged infrastructure, where the advantages obviously are you get compute, storage, networking bundled into one solution instead of having to manage different solutions for those. Going beyond that journey, then we have customers that are building their own private cloud on top of the data center. And what we mean over here by private cloud is a cloud-like experience, but within your data center environments. So so basically we see on the Nutanix customer journey, people building their private cloud on top of their data centers. And what we mean by that is giving a cloud-like experience where you enable self-service for IT, you help scale out on demand when demand increases, you keep a control over your spending through chargeback, and you have a secure environment that's your own cloud-like environment. But of course, we also realize that there are various benefits to having a public cloud, especially when you need burstability, when you need to expand to different environments where you may not have a data center. So there are reasons to use public clouds, and that's where we come to the hybrid cloud environment, where you have a mix of on-prem and public cloud with burstability between on-prem workloads and public cloud workloads. That's how we define hybrid cloud. And so that's where our customers are reaching today, and that's where Nutanix is helping them get to on their overall hybrid cloud journey. And the first step in that is providing a private cloud platform, which is built on our industry-leading hyperconverged infrastructure, and then providing you a secure environment that helps with microsegmentation, compliance remediation, compliance validation remediation, consolidating all of your data from files, objects, storage into one storage solution, helping automate operations such as chargeback, cost remediation policies, VM right sizing, deploying application lifecycle management in an automated way, and ensuring business continuity with a disaster and failover site. So that's the extent of the private cloud, which then we also expand to public cloud to deliver a true hybrid cloud experience, seamlessly helping you manage your applications between on-prem and public clouds. And on the public cloud side, we initially started with AWS, but we do plan to support all of the rest of the major public cloud providers very soon. So, but why are we talking about hybrid clouds? Let's just take one quick step back in how important is hybrid cloud for the industry, first of all. So these are some results that we did from a survey with a bunch of different enterprise customers in collaboration with Vensborn, as well as we have a case study with IDC, which is also available publicly. And 85% of enterprises agree that hybrid cloud is the ideal operating model for them, because they'll be able to benefit from the agility and scalability, on-demand scalability of public cloud, while also being able to support some of their legacy workloads and applications that have been running on their legacy mainframes. And those might not be ideally suited for a lift and shift migration to public cloud, and re-architecting them might not be in the best interest from a resource standpoint view. So there are needs for both on-prem, private clouds, public clouds, and utilizing them in a hybrid fashion is what we hear is the most ideal requirement. But in order to get the benefits out of it, application mobility is what our IT colleagues feel is absolutely essential to ensure. So what are some of the challenges in these deployments? Of course, you can think, like if you have different environments, different tools for your on-prem as well as for your public clouds, it creates new silos. You have some teams that are used to using a different monitoring product for their on-prem infrastructure, and now you need to think about application monitoring in the cloud, completely different constructs, completely different management consoles, adding to an overall complexity. So, and then you also have to learn new skill sets going from a private data center environment to a public cloud environment. You might have to reinstall your third-party integrations, reconstruct your networking policies, as well as during actual migration, you'll have to think about how to manage HA and how to manage storage, especially block storage. So those are the main challenges that we try to address with our hybrid cloud platform, where we deliver a true single platform that helps you use consistent skill sets and constructs in both on-prem as well as public cloud environments. We also enable seamless movement between private and public clouds because we have native integration into the public cloud accounts, into the Amazon VPCs, which allows your on-prem workloads to much more easily migrate to a hybrid environment where now you have your traditional on-prem clusters running, let's say, on bare metal public cloud servers instead of your own on-prem servers. And also having a native integration means that your existing public cloud credits that you might have as an enterprise that you might have negotiated with the public cloud provider, you can still use those for your workloads that you migrate from on-prem to public cloud or on-prem to hybrid cloud. So there is complete license portability that we enable. That's what we mean by a single platform spanning both on-prem and public cloud boundaries, helping you benefit from being able to use this as a one overall single cloud. And that's why we call this a true hybrid cloud that Nutanix delivers. It's powered by what we call Nutanix clusters running on AWS. Nutanix provides traditional on-prem clusters that they would run either on NX servers or third-party OEM servers. And now we've enabled those to run on bare metal AWS instances. The offering is currently in EA phase, early access phase. We are looking to GA by this summer, but we are absolutely onboarding customers on our hybrid cloud platform. And the main value drivers that customers get out of having a native extension from their private to public cloud environment is you can keep the same VMs and applications running in AWS without significant retooling or re-architecting. The hybrid elasticity helps you burst additional capability into public cloud when you might be close to reaching capacity, let's say in your on-prem environment. But crucially, you can also hibernate or resume your hybrid instances running on bare metal servers in public cloud on demand. So you can turn down those the Nutanix clusters running on AWS instances, put them in a hibernation mode so that you can save on costs when you don't need them, and bring those back up very easily when you're ready to utilize public cloud services. And you get direct access to the AWS services in this case when you're using Nutanix clusters on AWS. There are no network overlays. We have native integration with the Amazon VPCs and your existing networking on AWS. So your experience is completely uniform between your on-prem and your public cloud environments, while being able to utilize the AWS services as well as your existing AWS corporate credits and discounts. This is a architecture slide of sort of what this looks like. On the left, you see the Nutanix private cloud So that will be a cloud-like experience built on your data center, powered by our hyperconverged infrastructure solution. The top layer is Prism, that's our management console, and you see that it extends both over your on-prem environment as well as over to AWS, where you now have the same Nutanix clusters running within the Amazon VPC on a AWS EC2 bare metal instance, having direct access to a bunch of different AWS services so that you can benefit truly from the hybrid elasticity from on-prem to public clouds. Going beyond the platform, the hybrid cloud platform, we also provide a bunch of different hybrid cloud services, some of which are delivered in a SaaS fashion, so they're not tied to our platform. And mostly these services revolve around helping you with orchestration of your application lifecycle management, self-service deployment using blueprints, pre-existing blueprints, helping you with cost optimization both in on-prem and public clouds, same with security compliance in both on-prem and public clouds. And quite topical these days, of course, where we have to enable our workforce to work remotely from home, is we have a desktop as a service called Frame, where we can help you deliver virtual desktops not in weeks, but in a matter of days, both in public clouds and in your on-prem environment. And lastly, we also have disaster recovery as a service. Those are some of the key areas that we address where we felt that the benefits of these services in a hybrid cloud environment was crucial, or having these services was a necessary operational management that companies would need to solve for in order to benefit from a hybrid environment. Think about it like if you're migrating from on-prem to public clouds, one of the key concerns becomes is it's a free-for-all in public cloud. I don't have control over how people are consuming, so I don't have control over what my costs are going to be like or what my security configuration is going to be like. That's why we focused on cost and security as one of those services that we want to provide in a hybrid world. But even before we get to optimizing your cost and security, we, of course, want you to deploy your applications in a much more easy way. The way we do that is by providing a self-service marketplace. We have some pre-existing blueprints, and you can create your own blueprints, make them available to end users based on whatever RBAC that you want to provision for them. And let's say if I want to deploy a simple app with a load balancer, a web server, deploy some storage for it, I can come in and just grab the blueprint for a simple web app, and with just one click, I would be able to deploy that app in the infrastructure of my choice. Public clouds, we support all the 3 major public clouds, or on-prem in your Nutanix environment. And these can include both VMs as well as containers, or a mix of both of those in the same blueprint. So these blueprints are basically meant to be an easy way for you to understand application visualization. You see the UI on the left side, as well as the actual script in the blueprint on the right. These can be instantly published on the marketplace as soon as you create them, helping you with a combined lifecycle management for apps spanning VMs and containers. So now quickly just talking about the services around cost governance. So that's a service that we provide called Beam. It's a SaaS service, helping you unify your cost visibility across on-prem and public clouds so that you truly understand what does it cost for VMs to run in your hybrid environment, including both public and your private cloud environment. And in your private cloud environment, we go beyond simply your hardware and software licenses that you pay to run in your data center. We also incorporate facilities costs, power and cooling, data center space costs, Ethernet top-of-rack switch costs, the salary of your IT admins. All of those are bundled in, and so that you know when we say this is the cost of your VM running in your private cloud, that's a true operational cost of the VM. It incorporates for a bunch of different cost heads. Additionally, we also help you with automated chargeback and budgeting reports so that you can track who has consumed how many resources, and provide a bunch of different automation policies and right-sizing recommendations for public cloud cost savings. Typical Beam customers are able to save 35% or more on their public cloud cost savings by eliminating resources that they are not using, or downsizing the ones that might be oversized, and making smarter purchase through reserved instances. And ultimately, what we are getting towards with our cost optimization product, Zybeam, is helping you make cost-aware decisions as to where your workloads should run, in public clouds or on-prem. How much is it going to cost me to run the same workload in my Nutanix environment or in my AWS environment? This is a feature where we will be able to do the accurate comparison in public cloud cost as well as on-prem cost by building a TCO model, total cost of ownership model, for both environments. We have that model for Nutanix today, a TCO costing model. We are building towards a similar model for public clouds, and it should be available by early fall this year. And then we will be able to make an accurate comparison of your cost. And this comparison will be a dynamic cost, not a once-in-time static analysis, because we do this cost analysis based on tagging. So if your workload requirements change, let's say you added more storage, those costs will be updated automatically, and you will be able to maintain a cost-aware, you will have cost-aware visibility, whether your workloads are cheaper on-prem or in public clouds, so that then you can make the decision on the actual workload migration. Do you want to leave them on-prem in your 3-tier infrastructure? Do you want to bring them to a hyper-converged infrastructure running, let's say, on Nutanix? Or do you want to migrate them to a hybrid environment or just go full public cloud? So we provide bidirectional migration between on-prem and public clouds with our tool called Move. We support a bunch of different hypervisors, as you can see over here, vSphere, Hyper-V, as well as we have our own hypervisor called AHV, which is bundled in with the Nutanix solution. So that was a quick overview of what Nutanix is, how do we power our hybrid cloud platform, and how can we help you better realize your business needs by enabling your applications and workloads to sit in an on-prem environment when there is need to be closer to your legacy applications that have been running in a 3-tier infrastructure or on hyperconverged infrastructure, as well as seamlessly migrating them to a hybrid environment running on public cloud bare metal instances, so that you can utilize the specialized services that a bunch of these public cloud providers have, and doing that in a seamless way by having a native integration between our on-prem and public cloud environments, and also delivering a bunch of different services on top of it. As I say, the proof is in the pudding. We have a what we call a test drive for Nutanix. It gives you a good understanding of how the Nutanix hyperconverged infrastructure solution works. You don't have to wait for any servers to be deployed. It's kind of like a SaaS version of our POCs that we would do. You can go to nutanix.com/test drive, start to deploy your VMs in a HCI environment, provision storage for it, provision networking, all from one single management console. So that's available in test drive today, helping you understand how Nutanix can modernize your data center infrastructure and working with you on the journey to getting towards a hybrid cloud platform. That's all I have for now. David, if there are any questions, I'm happy to take any questions now.
Absolutely, yeah. Great presentation, Sahil. All right, let's see. First question, Devon is asking, is Azure on your roadmap?
Absolutely. We are currently targeting Azure for early access also in this summer and GA later in this calendar year. We do plan to support all 3 public clouds. AWS is going to GA this summer. Azure will GA in the second half of this calendar year, and GCP also to come towards the latter end of this calendar year.
Okay, excellent, excellent. While we do some other questions here, I'm just going to bring up this poll for the audience that says, what additional information would you like about the Nutanix solution? I'll just leave that up while we answer some other questions. Eric is asking about VPN requirements or VPN configurations or recommendations. Would a VPN design be required for what you described here, running Nutanix in the cloud?
It sort of would be, but we work with you and we provide that out of the box. Certain VPNs are pre-configured with our solution. So if you are able to use those VPNs that we already support, your experience will be completely out of the box. There's not a whole lot of configuration that you would need to do. If the VPN that you would like to use is not the one that we support, we are happy to work with you and figure out how we can support that. Okay,
excellent. Another question here, Chris is asking about cost analysis.
How do you all calculate that, come up with those numbers? How do we know that it's objective? Are those transparent numbers to us?
Yeah, absolutely. The model will be transparent to our paying customers or customers that are in a trial phase with our cost governance solution. First, for public clouds, we look at your billing files, what you have been spending on those, and do a cost projection based on your existing spending history, plus the cost APIs that are exposed by the public cloud provider. Similarly, we are building our own cost APIs for all of the Nutanix products. Just like in the public cloud world, you can ask the question, how much is this S3 bucket going to cost me, and pull that up from the billing APIs of the public cloud provider. We have the same APIs that you would be able to say, how much is a Nutanix storage bucket going to cost me if I run it in my data center in Kansas, Missouri, where I have certain number of IT admins supporting that data center, where I have a certain number of racks in my data center, and so on. So there's a bunch of different cost heads that we have built into our cost governance product. They utilize certain pre-configured industry standard values. For example, we assume 10 cents per kilowatt hour in terms of what it costs to run a data center. We know what the power consumption of our servers is. It's something like 450 kilowatts during the course of a year, or some number. And we know what the cost per kilowatt hour is. So we can simply multiply those and give you what your power and cooling cost is. Of course, you can tweak those numbers yourself because a data center running in Virginia is going to cost different than a data center running in Kansas. So we give you out-of-the-box visibility into that costing model, and you can tweak that costing model to meet your needs, as well as we will make the inner workings of that costing model completely available to our POC customers as well as paying customers.
Okay, excellent. I like that. Yeah, transparency there. What about security and compliance? There's a question here. How can it be confident in cloud environments that they're secure and compliant? Can Nutanix help with that?
Yes, absolutely. So we have also a capability around security compliance where we look at what your security posture looks like. Things like, do you have exposed storage buckets with global read-write permissions? Do you have databases accessible over public IPs? Do you have unencrypted data on a load balancer, and so on? And we do that security auditing in real time, show you the data or show you the audit data, like we found a certain database accessible over port 443 by any public IP. Here are the steps you should go to remediate those, or do you want me to remediate those myself? So that's a security compliance capability that is currently available as a SaaS service, and it covers both our on-prem and public cloud environments.
Okay, all right, excellent. Well, I'm afraid that's all the time we have for our live Q&A session, but I've put more than a dozen questions there for you in the queue. If you can maybe try to respond to some of those, I'm sure the audience would appreciate it. Sahil, it's been great having you on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, David, and have a great rest of your day, everyone.
And with that, it's time to announce Visa $300 gift card. That gift card is going out to, drum roll, please. We have a winner, and the winner is Gina Schmidt from Pennsylvania. Congratulations, Gina Schmidt from Pennsylvania. I want to remind everyone out there to watch your email inbox for the next event in this series. We're trying to make these, focused, fast-paced, relatively short, informative, educational events on the Nutanix public-private hybrid cloud solution. So I hope you'll join us on that event. It is October 20th at 3 o'clock, followed by the October 27th event, also at 3 o'clock, which will go into cost evaluation of public and private cloud solutions. Hope to see you there. Also, check out the Nutanix test drive link there in the handouts tab before you go. Thanks for joining, and have a great day. Bye-bye.